Hey, namaste everyone, Ram here, DNA Hacker. I'm back for another video. This video is actually very important to me personally, so I really take it seriously. It's a really important concept. If you're struggling with depression, if you're struggling with loneliness, you feel like your life doesn't have direction, you've lost a sense of why you're here, where you're going, what you were really meant to do in this life, which is likely not what you're currently doing, and you want to stay tuned to this video and see what I have to offer and what I'm going to say. I think it's going to be something that you're going to be very interested in. Okay? And I think this was also sparked by a recent event that I was at where I was helping, I met this client through one of my events, and one of the things that she said was, in front of all these people, was, hey, I ended up quitting my job. And I feel amazing. I feel like my life is going in a different direction now. I feel like I'm taking command and charge of my life rather than let life dictate what I do. And so I wanted to really discuss an important concept, which is Dharma. How Dharma relates to depression. If you're not familiar with Dharma, Dharma can have a variety of different meanings, but the meaning that I'm using it as is as order and purpose. Is your life in order? Is it in line with universal order? Is it in line, as we've talked about many times at Brahmastra Retreat and the Hacker Secrets programs, is it in line with nature? And so another thing is, are you living your life's purpose? Or is your life a product of many reactive decisions? So I know how this is because I've not only lived it, and I've not only also seen it in the eyes of others, but I've seen it in the eyes of clients that I work directly with. So I've not only seen it in my personal life, I've seen it in the life of people that are close to me, and also clients. How making life decisions can take you down one path when you were meant to be in another path. And so let me explain what I mean. So the key here is, what I want to focus on is how to break the patterns, habits, behaviors, the conditioning that has been programmed in you that keeps you feeling lost, incomplete, without direction or purpose, which often is at the heart of somebody who's suffering depression. Of course, I don't want to oversimplify. There are many reasons. Somebody may take it personally and say, oh no, my depression is due to this or that. They may attribute it to inheritance, to a family history or genetics. And so what I want you to know is that it doesn't matter what the reason is that you're struggling with depression, sadness, loneliness, despair, any type of mental illness. There is a way out. And this is what I teach and I do with my clients. Deep, powerful healing that transforms the consciousness from within and then transforms everything outwardly. That can be something that can be within your grasp. So I drew a little tree here to illustrate this concept that I'm trying to make. So you started off your life, and I often ask this question to younger people. And so I may ask this question to you. So when did you stop asking why? When did the curiosity start to wane? When did the passion start to be lost? When did that childlike fearlessness to try anything, to reach anything, start to go down? Did it start at an early age? Probably. Oftentimes I get the answer, it started when I went to school. Other times people say it started, there's an airplane's going by, it started with my parents telling me, don't do that, get down, stop asking me that question. I started to condition myself and learn that I needed to limit myself. That my potential, that this yearning, this deep yearning of wanting to know, learn, grow, explore, not be the child that is asked. You know, there's a study done where they ask children, very young children, I want you to draw a tree. Draw the tree, color it, and then hand it to me. And when you look at what the kids drew, younger kids, they do trees that are not what you see in nature. There weren't trees with brown trunk and green leaves, a standard kind of looking tree. They drew trees with a purple trunk and yellow leaves and stars and different things on them that you wouldn't normally see. Their mind was limitless. It was creative. We are infinite potential and creativity, and somehow we lose that. If you ask a child later on in life, let's say an adolescent, draw me a tree, what do they draw? And what do they draw? They draw the trees like you want to see behind me. Just standard trees that you see everywhere else. Why do often people answer the question, when did you lose that passion, that curiosity, wanting to know why, wanting to answer all the questions at school? Because the system is not designed to promote and encourage your talents, your creativity, your passions. It's designed to teach you a standard box, limited knowledge that already starts to limit your potential and veer your life in a certain direction. And oftentimes when I work with younger kids and I ask them, do you know where you're going? Do you know where you come from? Do you know what you want to do? They're like, oh, I'm too young. I don't know what I want to do. And that's not really necessarily a great answer. It doesn't matter what age. And yes, I understand that when you're really young, that's the last thing on your mind. But now we're in a world that is very different. And so finding yourself early is crucial. It's crucial because if you don't, you start your path along this wide path. And this path has many routes. Just imagine branches in a tree. Many routes that you could take. Your life could have gone in many directions. But which route did it go? Did it go down this path and you find yourself over here? Or did it go down this path and you find yourself over here? Depending on the path that you went through, it will determine a lot of things in your life. And so oftentimes what happens is, I'm in school. My parents are like, you gotta go to college. Maybe college is not one for me. How many stories are there of people who chose a different path? Extremely successful people. Whether it's in radio, TV, business, whatever it may be. And so you go to college. Even in college, you don't really know what you're doing. You're kind of going, you decided maybe to major in pre-med, let's say. You thought that maybe medicine was what you wanted to do because your dad maybe did medicine, or your mom. And so now you're in pre-med and somehow you feel like you're forced down that direction. So I know how that is. I went to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have direction, I felt lost, I felt confused. I ended up in research. I ended up at a prestigious, everybody would feel great to have gone to Yale, medical school and done research and all that kind of stuff. But there was a challenge there for me because the research that I wanted to do, I couldn't do. The ideas that I had, I couldn't actually implement them because I couldn't get the funding for them. I felt very depressed for many years. I felt lonely and lost when I went from one culture to another, from Puerto Rico, an island known for being a great place for happiness and joy, a great constant weather, to this place of a lot of changing seasons, different culture, studying things that I wasn't necessarily aligned with. I finished the PhD. I learned a ton and I'm very grateful for that experience because it's really formed a huge component of what I do, is allow me to really learn science and medicine, allow me to learn the West and the pharmaceutical industry and what are they doing with regards to chronic medicine, mental illness. But then what really I resonated with was a different way of viewing, a spiritual path, a path of teaching people how to really heal, how to live free of a number of diseases that they consider normal, so that once they removed all the obstacles, they could now discover their Dharma. What is their true purpose? So that they could start to feel whole again, to gain a sense of fulfillment, to gain a sense of completion, a sense of happiness. That can be yours. But it takes you must do it. You must make the decision that is now. And often I ask people the following question. I ask them, how much time a day on average do you think you spend on leisure? And so they give me a number. Could be 3 hours, could be 4, could be 6. Some people get home from work and all they do is just do other stuff, and that's not necessarily leisure. They may be taking care of their family or children. They may be doing chores around the house. Then the night ends, let's say at 9, and maybe they have a couple of hours that they'll use for entertainment purposes. Let's say on the weekend, they may be relaxing, running a few errands, taking the kids this or that, and then the rest of the time, maybe 4, 5, 6 hours or more, maybe spent again unwinding, leisure. And so if I find myself in a place that I'm not happy with, I went down the wrong path. I'm here. I'm meant to be over here. How do I get from here to there? It's not going to happen magically. Sometimes people have this idea of the law of attraction as I think, I want, I will something into manifestation. Nothing will happen without vision, without planning, without direction. Are you taking the time to think and realize, what is my outcome? What do I want for myself? What did I really, when I was younger, I mean, if you're younger, great, do it now, it's perfect. But if I'm older, what would I have wanted? Sit down, take some time and concentrate, clear your mind. Visualize yourself, as I get a little announcement there. And of course, another one pops in. That's the problem of using a cell phone. Visualize yourself as a child. What would that child want? Is the child observing the future you, and is that child proud? Is that child saying, yes, that's who I want to be? Or is that child saying, please, I hope that that's not my future. I hope that I can do better. And if that's the case, don't feel ashamed. Don't judge, don't criticize, don't beat yourself down. That is a moment that instead of reacting with crisis, you react as a challenge. You take the bulls by the horn, and you command your life now. It is yours to own. Stop letting these hidden forces that I go into in the Art of Stress-Free Living. In a whole chapter I devote to these hidden forces, some of which are subconscious, some of which are conditioned by you, your patterns of thinking. And start breaking free from that. Start taking command of your life and start gaining order in your life. Start gaining purpose. And if you don't know how, then find somebody who can. And I would love to be the person that helps free you from that prison, that helps break the shackles of your life so that you live the life that you deserve. You may be making a lot of money, but you're miserable. You may have a family with children, a big house, but you're miserable. What is it that you're missing? What will make you whole? That is the key question that you must discover. And so oftentimes what I do with clients is after we've gone through a lot of healing, that's why I designed the Art of Stress-Free Living. Stress is the cause of 80% or more of doctor's visits. It's at the heart of so many different conditions. Inflammation as well. And I devote a chapter to both, to a couple chapters to that on the body stress section of the Art of Stress-Free Living for a reason. I devote that in my Art of Stress-Free Living retreats, a good chunk of that. You must make your body, your mind whole so that then you can now have the clarity, the vision to gain deep meaning in your life. And so I recently did a video on this little diagram. It's kind of something that Tony Robbins many years ago used to discuss, something similar to this. And so the idea here is, how much potential do you think you have? Or you think you're restricted, you're at the mercy of nature, of the world around you? Oftentimes, as it is with stress and anxiety and many other conditions, you are giving away the control to the outside world. You're blaming the outside world for your problems. You're blaming your past decisions. Focus on the now, on the present. It doesn't matter what you did. It could have been the most horrific thing. I often tell that to clients and students, that I tell them, look, you could do whatever. It wouldn't matter what you do. I would still love you the same. You could murder 1 million people and I will still see the you that I see right there that wants to come out. Stop settling for being a piece of coal when you could be a diamond. Stop letting other coals take little pieces of their little darkness and throw them at you and make you feel like you're less. Get rid of that. Learn how to cleanse and purge yourself of all the useless stuff that you don't need, so that now you can be a diamond that can shine right through. The real you can shine through. Stop putting up the barriers that are getting in the way, the many veils. You deserve more. So how much is your potential is dependent on something, your beliefs. How much do you value yourself? What do you think about yourself? Do you think you're capable of doing this or that? Are you settling for more or less? What are you doing for yourself? What are you doing to take yourself from being here to being in the path that you were meant to live? A path of service, a path of love, a path of compassion. Maybe it was the arts. Maybe you're passionate about the arts. A student who I'm not saying I'm a savior, but I worked often. I would tell her, look, why are you going into medicine? It's not what you're meant to do. Look at your talent. And I have a painting of her here at the house. Her first official painting won her an award. It was showcased at the White House or Congress, somewhere in Capitol Hill. And I kept talking to her. You have so much talent. That's what you're meant to do. I can see how proud you are. The pride comes out, the good pride. I see your passion. I see your joy. Why are you choosing to do something because your parents say that you need to go to medical school? Because that's what makes money. That's what the prestige is and whatever. I'm Dr. So-and-so. Who cares? Do what you love. Do what you're meant to do. I swear that if you do what you love, you've heard it before, you won't work a day in your life. But more importantly, you won't care if you are rich or poor. You won't care if you are wearing rags or fine clothing. It does not matter when you are centered in your Dharma, when you're living in line with your universal truth that nobody can take away. Somehow, it was taken away from you. You must reclaim it. How do you reclaim that? By destroying the beliefs that reinforce your negative thinking, your conditioning, your idea that you are meant to be a coal rather than a diamond. So, to destroy this, you must have a vision. You must have a clear outcome. And oftentimes our mind is so obfuscated, is so filled with stuff that if we don't learn control, we don't learn to quiet the mind, to gain clarity so that we can actually see. I think I did a video a while ago making the analogy of a fish tank. If that fish tank has mud and I agitate it, I hit it, the mud is just gonna come up and I won't be able to see through. I need to let that settle. And two, I need to purify. I need to get that muck out of there. I need to purify myself. That's what I'm going to go into more details in DNA Hacker Secrets that's coming this fall. I'm going to be working on it, on how to master living disease-free and becoming a superhuman, finding that hidden potential within you. Once I have that vision, once I have that planning and direction, then I can start taking action. I can execute. If you cannot do this, then you must find help. You must find the help of a master, a coach, somebody with experience that has walked the path. And if you're interested, go to the link below. More than happy to give you a free call, not to sell. If you want to work with me, fine. If you don't, it's not going to change my life at all. I don't need your money. I don't just want to serve. There has to be an exchange for me to help you so that you have skin in the game, so that you're willing to put the help effort. But that's not what I'm interested in. For me, it's about changing one life at a time. And I know how it is to be depressed. I was, looking back on my life, I didn't realize it, depressed for well over a decade. I wasn't doing what I was doing. I was frustrated that I felt I had all this potential. Again, potential. I had all this drive, all this passion, and I felt like I just wasn't doing what I was meant to do, as if life was taking me in this direction. I was just reacting to what life was throwing at me. I go from one job to another, from one degree to another. All of a sudden, I end up at this job that I don't like. I end up in this marriage that I'm miserable in, and whatever it may be that's your situation, there is a way out. There is a way so that you don't have to focus so much on changing what's outside. You can change yourself. And all of a sudden, seeing that Hurricane Dorian at the filming of this video here in Miami is heading towards Florida, you can be the eye of that storm, ever tranquil, ever peaceful, ever clear, despite all the turbulence and the chaos going around you. I promise you that it's possible. And once you achieve that state, it will never be taken away from you. You will have it in this lifetime and many others. Wherever you may go, you will not lose it. So, whether you do this yourself or you work with an expert, whether it's a clinician, whether it's myself, a coach, a master, then once you gain that vision and planning and direction, start taking action. But the problem is that a lot of people, when they get into a certain situation, they take action. And as I mentioned in a previous video related to this, that action does not yield positive results. It yields poor results, which then reinforce those negative beliefs. Not only do they reinforce the negative beliefs, but those negative beliefs then oppress, limit, contract your potential, keep you in a more limited state. It will then stagnate further action, so that then you're gonna lead to more confusion, more despair. That's known as tamas in the yoga literature, in Ayurveda. What we want initially is the opposite of tamas, which is rajas. We want to stimulate massive action. But the only way that you can stimulate massive action is by bringing yourself to a certain level of balance and harmony. This is where mental, physical, spiritual health, 100% all the time lies. You're here, you will never know what pain and suffering is, the highs and lows of life, all that stuff. Your vibration is going to change, your outlook is going to change, your radiance is going to change. The way you interact with others, the joy that you're going to give others is going to change. So now, if instead I have clear vision, I know what I want, I know what outcome I want, what results I want to see, I plan it, I map it out, I work with somebody that helps me if I need to. I have clear direction now, I'm focused. I've worked to train my mind, as we do in our programs. Train that mind to make it an asset. Get your body to the right state to make it an asset, so that you have the energy, the power, the vigor, the sex drive, whatever, to be able to maintain a high state of living, which I've talked about in other videos. And now, with that vision, taking massive action will now lead to positive results rather than negative. And those positive results create new possibilities. They start to do away with these negative beliefs that I have. They start to do away with negative conditioning. Start filling up your house with positive imagery and positive messages wherever you work. Wherever you turn, I want you to turn and see the things that you often don't think about, that are going to counter what you are often thinking about. To do away with negative imagery, replace it with positive affirmations. If you're not constantly saying it to yourself, that's why I teach positive affirmations and mantras, very powerful healing mantras to clients, patients, students, is because what we're trying to do away with is what's hidden behind the background, what's underlying in your subconscious mind that's coming into the forefront, into your conscious mind, and is overwhelming you, and is making you think that you're less, and is making you feel like you're sad and lonely and despaired and nothing is working and nothing is right. It's locked you in a neurochemical, genetic state, a biochemical state that is reinforcing the depression, the depressed state. We must do away with that to start reinforcing something else. That is what DNA Hacker Secrets is all about, is by changing you from within to change your gene expression in a way that changes your biochemistry to make it an advantage towards you, an asset. So that now your body, your brain is not an obstacle for your mind. Now your mind can start focusing on other things. It can have clarity. It can gain deeper meaning. It can become whole, gain a deeper sense of fulfillment, completion, and happiness. I promise you that this is possible. And if you're willing to take a chance, get on a call. You don't lose anything. If you're watching this, you've gotten to this point, it's because something about this has touched your life. Give a call, go online, book it. I promise I will be there to serve you. I am all about serving, all about love. If you receive an email from me, you'll see that that is my greatest form of worship. I teach that to others. There is nothing greater than service unto others. It's like being a fountain that is ever giving and ever pure, instead of sewage that takes and becomes rotten. So do away with your negative beliefs and try that. Go online and look for positive messaging. If you need help with that, let me know. We can work out something. I'll give you a list of all these things. You'll put it around wherever you may go, and you'll see how everywhere you turn, reinforce yourself with a different way of thinking, with a different imagery. And it will start to break away slowly those patterns, those habitual energy patterns, those scars, psychic scars that are embedded, that just trickle out. When something happens on the outside, it may hit one of those cords, and then they bolt out. And when they bolt out, they hit the strings of your DNA, and they change the pattern of your expressions, and change your neurochemistry, change your neuroanatomy, change your hormonal system. They change everything about you, and they start to take you away and away from who you really are. Reclaim yourself, and I hope that you can break free from what's holding you. You can break the shackles and stop being a slave to the system, a slave to your family. Maybe your parents made you think certain things. Maybe there was a trauma that happened at an early age. Whatever it may have been, we have all been through that. I have been through that and worse. And so I want to guide you through that process as someone that has walked a path that can help you navigate through the ins and outs so that you can find joy, truth, bliss, fulfillment. Okay? I hope that served you well. I send you lots of love wherever you may be. Have a beautiful day. Take care.